Hi, and thanks for joining me today. And just a quick explanation of how I'm going to describe this component, which is the oil pressure switch from my Triumph Spitfire. So in the video, I'm going to keep the circuitry simple, and I'm going to assume that the bulb itself will be powered from the battery on a positive lead going into the top of the component, and then simply going to the chassis of the body to complete the circuit to illuminate the bulb itself. In reality, it's a bit more complex. The actual bulb itself receives power from the battery. The battery goes through a number of components, including a regulator, a series of fuses, before it ends up with a positive feed to one side of the bulb, which goes to a continuation of that positive feed to the terminal on top of the oil pressure switch itself. And then the battery connects to the car body, which completes the circuit. So just an explanation that in the following video I am going to refer to this circuitry as simply going to earth, like so. So I hope that explains why I'm going to use a simple circuit. And the main part of this description is how the oil pressure switch works and the internal components that go to make up the oil pressure switch. So how does the oil pressure unit work on the engine? So you've got oil pressure underneath here. At the moment, with the engine not running, there's no oil pressure. You've got the cavity itself here, and inside there's a diaphragm that stops the oil from passing into the electrical circuitry. There's a little plastic plunger, and there's a negative terminal at the bottom, which is connected to the body of the pressure sensing unit itself, and at the very top you've got a positive terminal fixed. The positive terminal connects with one side of your bulb. The negative terminal of the bulb connects through the earth of the car to the negative part of the pressure unit itself. Inside the unit you've got a positive pressure pad here made of metal in contact with the negative, and to keep it in place there's a spring. So with the engine not running, no pressure in the engine oil system, positive terminal connected to the negative terminal, switch the ignition on, you have the bulb illuminated. So let's look at the other side of it when the engine's running. So you've got the same again, negative terminal at the bottom, positive terminal at the top. You've got your little plunger which passes through here, and with the engine running you've got fuel pressure building up in the cavity. That fuel pressure passes into the pressure sensing unit itself. The diaphragm, previously flexing down because there's no pressure and everything's under the spring pressure, because of the oil pressure the diaphragm is now moved. The tiny little plunger connected to the diaphragm moves
up, and that separates the positive terminal under spring pressure that's going to break the circuit. Breaks the circuit at this point here, and the light will go out. So that's why you switch on your ignition, the light comes on, you run the engine, and as the oil pressure builds, it takes a moment or two, separates the terminals, and then the oil pressure light goes out. So let's have a look at the components then. So here is the shaft entering the body. There's the first part of the component. Inside there you've got the plastic plunger and the diaphragm. So if we have a look at that, I'll just show you the diaphragm moving. So you can see that that goes up and down. Underneath you've got the terminal, which is the negative terminal there. On top of that you've got the positive terminal here. That sits under spring pressure there, and that attaches to the top terminal. So why have I dismantled this? Well, I switched the engine on and the oil pressure warning light didn't come on. So after a bit of investigating, I took it apart, and what I found was there was corrosion built up on this terminal here. That was preventing the two terminals from making a good contact, and that prevented the light from coming on. So the corrosion that we had built up in here, and therefore the light was never going to come on. So let's test the system. So I've got a continuity circuit here. When the circuit is complete, it makes the buzzing noise. So first of all, I'll put the positive plate over the top of the terminal there. Put the spring in. That will keep them together initially. Put the cap on. Connect the terminals up. There's the completed circuit. Now the oil pressure rises. Circuit is broken. Then you shut your engine down. Circuit is complete again as the pressure depletes, and the light comes back on again. So I hope that's been useful, and thanks for watching.